Good morning, everybody. I think we're going to make a start. So I'm going to give people a moment or two to settle down. I'm not going to stay up here very long. Just a quick sort of health and safety. If you could please turn off all your phones. If you could, the bathrooms are at the back of, near where the reception, where the registration was. So the ladies are this way and the gents are this way, I think. And what was the other thing? If the fire alarm goes off, could we just all leave the building in orderly fashion and meet at the front of the university? That's sort of just the fire and safety keeping and the phones off and so forth. The housekeeping message. My name is Professor Carola Dillenberger. I'm the director of the Centre for Behaviour Analysis here at Queen's University Belfast. And I just want to welcome you to Queen's very briefly, but we'll have our Prof, Chancellor welcome you officially. We have a packed day today, and I think there's still more people to come. We're expecting about 150 delegates today, so it's just great to see everybody here. And as I say, welcome to Queen's. We have, in the programme, we have 5 speakers. We'll have 3 speakers in the morning, then we'll have lunch, then we'll have breakout sessions where one breakout session will be here with 2 shorter papers and one will be in the Canada room, but there will be signs to the Canada room. And then we have 2 more keynote speakers after that, back here again, so that's the logistics. We'll have coffee break. If you look at your programs, we'll have a coffee break at mid-morning, and then lunch will be provided at the back of the hall. So that's the housekeeping. We have a slight change in program. One of our speakers had a serious family illness. One of the speakers in the Canada room will be changed, and thankfully, where is she? Dr. Lynn McCare is stepping in to the breach and giving a paper on schools, on our secondary data analysis we did on school children in Northern Ireland, and she will be presenting that instead of Claire McDowell from Ulster University, who sadly can't be here with us today. So that's a small change of programme, just for those people who were looking forward to Claire's presentation, as I was, but that's going to have to wait for another day. So without further ado, I'm welcoming our Provost Chancellor, Professor David Jones, to welcome you to Queen's.
Good morning, everybody, and a very, very firm welcome to Queen's. Unfortunately, I couldn't lay on good weather for you today. We've had great weather up to now, so I always feel apologetic when you see grey skies outside. But we do get good weather here, so you're very, very much welcome. Welcome to Queen's, and welcome to the Whitla Hall. For those of you who have an interest in music and things like this was the very stage that Jimi Hendrix played on in 1967. It's also the stage our graduates walk across whenever they get their certificate. And apparently, with the Jimi Hendrix concert, you could hear it 5 streets away. You didn't have to be here to hear it. That's many years ago. One of the joys of this job is to welcome people yourselves to Queen's, and I'm delighted to welcome you all both to the university and also to the 4th annual conference, which has been organised for the Centre for Behaviour Analysis and QUART, which, as you know, is the Queen's University Autism Research and Treatment Centre. So as conferences do, each year the conference has a particular theme, and this year it centres around a really, really exciting and pivotal theme of interdisciplinarity and interdisciplinary work, and asks the question, how can behaviour analysis help? And for any of us involved in academia, you'll realise that word interdisciplinarity is growing in importance in every single way, and particularly if you're going for funding, interdisciplinarity is a key theme. So I think that the title is very good. And basically, it comes to attention if you realise in a recent edition of Nature that it was stated that an interdisciplinary approach should drive people to ask questions and solve problems that they haven't come up with before. And I think that's the key to it. It's having people from different areas, having different skill sets that are able to ask hard questions, but also provide answers to them. And both of those are important. You have to ask the right questions. What this interdisciplinary roles will do will allow us to answer the new questions and hopefully will allow us then to address some of the old problems that we would have had. I'm old enough to remember when, if you mentioned interdisciplinarity, people would have probably shouted abuse at you and growled at you. We all wanted to work in our own area and leave us alone. Those days have changed. And as we'll see from the themes of the conference today, it is good that it has changed. Now, we have a list of speakers today, a very, very impressive list of speakers, so if you'll allow me just to introduce some of those formally from the university. We have Dr. Javier Virtuez Ortega from the University of Auckland, and he's a clinical psychologist and a board-certified behavioural analysis doctoral. Originally, he's from Spain and has worked in a Canadian university, so I think you're what you call an international person. You're very most welcome. I read that you're from Auckland, and I bear that in great mind. I actually hold an honorary position in Auckland. I lived there for several years. I lived in New Zealand for several years. So I hope, even though you're Spanish, I hope you're enjoying the World Cup celebrations. So I know how much the rugby means to New Zealand. You're very welcome. We also have Professor Dr. Hans Rüdiger Rutgers, who's a psychiatrist from the University of Applied Science in Münster, Germany. And he has set up a project of early behavioural intervention for children with autism. A long-standing friend and colleague of ours at Queen's, and has been a partner in the STAMP project, the multimedia package for parents and professionals. Other speakers we have closer to home are from England, Bethan Mayer-Williams, who's a speech and language therapist. Oh, from Wales, I apologise. That's a very subtle difference and an important one, so I apologise indeed. And a board-certified behaviour analyst, which apparently I'm told is a rare combination, but a most welcome combination to today's proceedings. We have Patrick McCormick, who's a school principal from Dublin, and is also a parent of a child with autism who has benefited from the ABA-based interventions for many years, so you're very welcome. And Liam McDermott, who's a nurse with the Western Health and Social Care Trust in Northern Ireland, who has also an MSc in Applied Behaviour Analysis, and welcome as well, Liam. So really we have what is an international group. I have to remember not to say England, but to say Wales now, and all with different backgrounds, and you can see with an interdisciplinary background that will really add to today's experience. But the important link in it all really is applied behavioural analysis, the theoretical backgrounds you share, and also the fundamental approach. You understand human behaviour, and that's what you're going to bring to the attention today. I used this quote before, and I think it's a really important one, and that our Irish President, Michael D. Higgins, identified what it is, what guides the hand of everybody involved in the fields that you're all working in. And please let me quote here: "A truly democratic society is one that recognises the need to build together an inclusive citizenship based on participation, equality and respect for all." And I think that's a really powerful statement, and it's also a very personal statement, and it's one that we all should aspire to. And I'm delighted to see it linked to what you are doing professionally. Now, I suppose, as we know, autism has become, it's more in the media. Publicly, we're beginning to know a little bit more about it as a society. But ideas about autism have matured over many years, and nowadays we see it as being one of the most vibrant areas of research and teaching. But there is a real sense of urgency. We cannot be complacent about autism and what we can do. We see the number of children who are being diagnosed with autism and having behaviour somewhere on the autistic spectrum is growing. And this will raise many challenges then to how we handle, how we can best care for those individuals. And you see education being affected, you see healthcare being affected. It affects our fabric of society. Now, at Queen's, we are dedicated to research and teaching that will benefit global society. It's one of our tenets as we look forward as our Vision 2020. In Queen's, we want our research to make a difference, and we want to make a difference to society. And this is a prime example of what we hold central to our vision. The work of my colleagues at QUART and also for the Centre of Behavioural Analysis is an illustration of what that is. And without embarrassing some of them, I want to give some details of what our staff are doing. A little while ago, Dr. Caterina Dunavi visited the pioneering Futuro School in Paris to provide training for a group of new professionals. Well done, wonderful. And in September, we have, as Carola, who was speaking earlier, gave a keynote address at the International Autism Therapy and Rehabilitation Conference in Beijing, and she addressed an audience of more than 250 parents and professionals. Being on that side of the world, then, she was also asked for a meeting with the mayor of Izu, a major city around Mount Fuji. And as you'll hear, she's on her travels quite a bit. Then Carola has also, a couple of weeks ago, was in Slovakia and the Czech Republic at the invitation of parents to deliver applied behavioural analysis workshops which were attended by a total of 600 people. That's a lot of interest in what we're doing. And you also had a chance to meet with the Czech Republic's Deputy Minister for Health and Deputy Education Ministers. And it made me reflect an awful lot when you see that, how much of a difference you're making to places that are not Northern Ireland, that are not Great Britain. And I sit and wonder to myself, what is it that we're missing here, that other parts of the world want to hear what we do and what this audience does, but our own ministers don't want to hear. So perhaps that's something, if I can help in any way, I will bring that forward, because I think really it's an embarrassment to me, as I see in society, that we're not addressing that. What we do know is that parents will know the difference that people make here, because the parents and people who are looking after children are the ones that will tell you how much a difference we make. And that goes right across healthcare. And that's what I like to reflect upon in times like this. We may get deflected about we may feel not wanted, dejected in some way, that our government isn't doing what we want them to do. But by goodness, the people who really were making a difference do know what we do. And the popularity of the courses in Queen's is very strong in this area. And we have a very good recruitment of courses such as the MSc in Applied Behavioural Analysis. And we've had an MSc in Autism Spectrum Disorder since 2002. And I think it's wonderful, and some of the audience here will see that we're producing graduates, people who are trained, who have been trained with professionals at the top of their field, and they're leaving with the skills and knowledge and understanding, and they will go out and use those. Now, I often ask myself then, and this goes back to another story here, is that we, of course, people who will see a lot of these problems are in education. What training is there for teachers? And I think when you speak to people, whenever teachers are having to handle these situations, how much training do they actually get? We take things for granted. When we go and get our car fixed with a mechanic, we expect them to know what they're doing and fix the car. We expect a dentist to fill our teeth appropriately, for medics to diagnose problems. But with only 10 hours training, that's all teachers would get. Would you let a dentist drill your teeth who had 10 hours training? And that's the social responsibility we're putting on teachers. I know what I would say. I would say definitely not. So, really, we want things to change. And I think what Carola and our team are doing, and you as a collective, will make a difference. And always remember that. And we want to overcome these barriers. The barriers seem to, every time you overcome one appears, but don't stop that. Think about what's been done, not what the journey is ahead. So what's today about, really? It's about sharing. It's about parents and professionals coming together to talk about ideas and approaches that'll make a difference. And it's about trying to settle a local experience within an international context. I want to say personally, I'm a healthcare scientist. I'm a pharmacist originally. I have a daughter with a chronic illness. And I know personally what difference people can make. And what I would say to you is, you are making a wonderful difference. Never lose any recognition of that. The differences you will make, you will see, and for many, many years, you will change people's lives in a way which you can perhaps only imagine. So I'm going to stop there. I know that the conference will be a wonderful success, and the audience here is testimony to that. Can I welcome you again to Queen's? I've apologised for the weather. I cannot say that again. And I wish you all the very best for your time here. Thank you.